For over a century, nothing has symbolized American military might quite like the aircraft carrier. These are not just ships, floating cities, mobile airfields, instruments of national will. When a crisis brews anywhere in the world, the first question often asked in the White House Situation Room is, where are the carriers? Their sheer presence in a region can change political calculations, deter aggression, and reassure allies. They are a powerful statement of intent, a visible and potent extension of American influence across the vastness of the world's oceans. Their silhouettes cutting through the waves with a fleet of escorts are universally recognized as a sign of unmatched power. The very idea of an aircraft carrier is a testament to incredible ambition and engineering. It is a sovereign piece of American territory that can sail to any coastline, bringing with it the firepower of an entire air force. Today, in 2025, that role has not diminished. In fact, in an era of renewed great power competition and unpredictable global flashpoints, their importance may be greater than ever before. These vessels represent a commitment, not just to naval dominance but to global stability and the projection of American values. They are the ultimate backstop for diplomacy, the steel fist inside the velvet glove of international relations, ready to act when words are not enough. From the decks of the early carriers in World War II to the advanced nuclear-powered supercarriers of today, the evolution has been remarkable. The USS Gerald R Ford and its sister ships are the pinnacle of this development. They are more than just an upgrade, they are a leap into a new era of naval warfare. They carry the legacy of naval aviators who fought in the Pacific, the Cold War, and the Middle East. They are the product of decades of experience, innovation, and immense national investment. Their continued operation is a clear signal that the United States intends to maintain its leadership on the world stage, patrolling the sea lanes that are the arteries of global commerce. As we stand here in late 2025, the debate over the carrier's future is intense. New technologies, particularly from strategic rivals like China and Russia, pose significant challenges to their once unquestioned supremacy. Hypersonic missiles, advanced submarines, and sophisticated anti-access area denial networks are all designed with one primary target in mind: the American aircraft carrier. This essay will explore the enduring strengths of these magnificent ships, the new threats they face, and whether in this rapidly changing world, they still rule the seas. The question is critical, as the answer will shape the balance of power for decades to come. To truly understand the power of a modern U.S. aircraft carrier, you have to appreciate its incredible scale. A Nimitz-class or a newer Ford-class carrier is a staggering piece of engineering. These ships are over 1,000 feet long, longer than 3 football fields placed end to end. They displace over 100,000 tons of water, making them the largest warships ever built. On board, a crew of over 5,000 sailors, pilots, technicians, forming a bustling, self-contained city at sea. This city has its own hospital, dental clinic, post office, television station, and even its own desalination plants that produce hundreds of thousands of gallons of fresh water every single day. At the heart of the carrier's power are its 2 nuclear reactors. These sophisticated power plants allow the ship to sail at speeds over 30 knots, about 35 miles per hour, and give it virtually unlimited range. A nuclear-powered carrier can operate for more than 20 years without needing to refuel, a strategic advantage. This endurance means it can deploy faster, travel farther, stay on station longer than any conventionally powered warship. The immense energy generated by these reactors also powers the entire ship, from its advanced sensor arrays and communication systems to the powerful catapults that launch its aircraft into the sky. The flight deck is the operational core of the carrier. It is an incredibly dangerous and precisely choreographed environment, often called the most dangerous 4.5 acres on Earth. Here, powerful steam catapults and electromagnetic catapults accelerate a 45,000-pound fighter jet from 0 to over 160 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. Upon return, pilots must land on a moving pitching runway, catching one of 4 arresting wires with a tailhook to come to a violent sudden stop. This cycle of launching and recovering aircraft can happen every 30 seconds, enabling the carrier to generate a high sortie rate that can overwhelm an adversary with sustained air power. Below the flight deck lies the hangar bay, a massive internal space that serves as the carrier's garage and workshop. Aircraft are moved between the flight deck and the hangar bay using giant high-speed elevators. Inside the hangar, maintenance crews work around the clock to repair, rearm, refuel the aircraft, ensuring they are always ready for the next mission. This entire ecosystem, the nuclear power, the massive flight deck, the skilled crew, and the integrated maintenance facilities, is what transforms a massive ship into a dominant military airfield. A dominant military airfield that can be positioned anywhere on the 70% of the Earth's surface covered by water. An aircraft carrier is ultimately just a platform. Its true offensive power comes from the carrier air wing it carries. This is the tip of the spear. A typical air wing consists of around 75 aircraft, a versatile and powerful mix designed to handle a wide variety of missions. The core of its strike capability is composed of multi-role fighter jets, FA-18E Super Hornet, F-35C Lightning II. They can conduct air-to-air combat, strike targets on land or at sea, provide close air support for troops on the ground. Beyond the fighter jets, the air wing includes several specialized aircraft that are crucial for the carrier's mission. E-2D Advanced Hawkeye. It is the carrier's eyes and ears, a flying command and control center. It can detect and track enemy aircraft, missiles, ships from hundreds of miles away. Another critical component is the EA-18G Growler, an electronic warfare aircraft. Its primary weapon is the electromagnetic spectrum. It can jam enemy radar, disrupt communications, suppress air defense systems. Growlers fly ahead of fighters to pave the way, blinding and confusing enemy defenses. The air wing is supported by helicopters, MH-60R Seahawk, MH-60 is Nighthawk. These helicopters are the workhorses of the strike group. They perform anti-submarine warfare, search and rescue, medical evacuation, and manage logistics. This collection of diverse and capable aircraft, all operating from a single mobile platform, gives the U.S. carrier sustained, self-contained combat power no other nation can currently match. It is a complete air force that can be deployed anywhere in the world. The primary mission of an aircraft carrier is power projection. This is the ability to deploy military force from the sea to influence events on land. A U.S. carrier strike group, typically consisting of the carrier itself, at least one cruiser, several destroyers, and a submarine. It does not need to ask for permission to operate in international waters. It does not require a host nation's approval for basing rights or overflight permissions. This freedom of maneuver gives the United States a unique and powerful tool for global influence. A carrier can sit just over the horizon, out of sight but well within striking range, applying pressure without setting foot on foreign soil. This capability makes the carrier an incredibly flexible instrument of foreign policy. It can be used across the entire spectrum of engagement, from humanitarian assistance to all-out war. In the wake of a natural disaster, a carrier can be one of the first responders on the scene. Its helicopters can ferry aid and rescue personnel. Its desalination plants can provide clean drinking water. Its medical facilities can function as a fully equipped hospital. This soft power role builds goodwill and demonstrates American commitment in times of crisis, often achieving strategic goals without firing a shot. On the other end of the spectrum, the carrier is a formidable war-fighting machine. The combined firepower of its air wing can deliver strikes hundreds of miles inland. The missile capabilities of its escort ships can also reach deep targets. This allows the U.S. to hold at risk an adversary's military bases, command centers, infrastructure, and naval forces, all from the relative safety of the open ocean. The ability to conduct sustained, 24-hour flight operations means a carrier can generate a tempo of attacks that can quickly overwhelm a defender's capacity to respond. That establishes air superiority and shapes the battlefield for follow-on forces. The psychological impact of a carrier's presence is also a major factor. When the USS Gerald R Ford and its strike group sail into a contested area, South China Sea, Eastern Mediterranean, it sends an unmistakable message to both allies and adversaries. To allies, it is a sign of reassurance, a tangible symbol of America's security guarantees. To potential aggressors, it is a clear warning that the United States has the capability and the will to protect its interests. This diplomacy by demonstration can de-escalate tensions and deter conflict before it even begins, making the carrier a powerful tool for maintaining global stability. The era of uncontested United States naval supremacy is facing its most significant challenge in decades. The primary driver is China's rapid naval modernization and expansion. The plan. China has been methodically building a world-class navy. At the center, an aircraft carrier program, Liaoning, Shandong, Fujian, launched in 2022 with catapults like American carriers. These carriers aren't yet equal to U.S. carriers in size, operational experience, or in the capability of their air wings. Still, they mark a clear strategic direction, China isn't trying to match U.S. carriers carrier for carrier worldwide. It's focused on securing the near seas, the South China Sea and waters around Taiwan. By deploying carriers, China wants to push U.S. forces farther from its shores, establish its own sphere of influence, project power across the Indo-Pacific. The plan is learning fast. The carrier gap is closing quicker than many predicted. Russia's single carrier, Admiral Kuznetsov. It's plagued by mechanical problems, it's suffered fires, it's spent long periods in dry dock, it's conventionally powered, it uses a ski jump ramp to launch jets. The Kuznetsov is a symbol of prestige but not a global strategic match for U.S. carriers. Deployments are infrequent. Operational reliability remains a major concern. The bigger worry, the full systems built around these carriers. Advanced destroyers, quiet submarines, land-based sensors, land-based missiles. The aim: create a no-go zone that puts a U.S. carrier strike group at extreme risk. That reality forces the U.S. Navy to rethink and adapt. The greatest threat to the modern aircraft carrier comes not from other carriers, but from a new generation of advanced weapons designed specifically to destroy them. These are known as carrier killer missiles, and they are the centerpiece of China's anti-access and area denial strategy. The most well-known of these is the DF-21D, an anti-ship ballistic missile. Unlike a traditional cruise missile, the DF-21D is fired high into the atmosphere like a ballistic missile before its maneuvering re-entry vehicle plunges down towards its target at hypersonic speeds, making it incredibly difficult to intercept. A newer and longer-range version, the DF-26, has been dubbed the Guam Killer for its ability to target U.S. bases far out in the Pacific. These missiles represent a fundamental shift in naval warfare. For decades, the carrier's primary defense was distance and the strength of its own air wing. It could engage threats far from the ship itself. However, with missiles that can travel over 1,000 miles, the carrier is now forced to operate within the weapon engagement zone of a land-based adversary. This creates a dilemma. To be effective, the carrier's aircraft need to be within range of their targets, but this brings the entire strike group into the crosshairs of these sophisticated missile systems. It is a deadly game of cat and mouse where the stakes are a 100,000-ton warship and the lives of 5,000 crew members. The threat is not limited to ballistic missiles. China and Russia are investing heavily in advanced, sea-skimming hypersonic cruise missiles. These weapons fly at more than 5 times the speed of sound at low altitudes, giving a ship's defenses very little time to react. Submarines also pose a persistent and growing danger. Diesel-electric and nuclear-powered submarines are quieter than ever, making them incredibly difficult to detect. A submarine armed with advanced torpedoes or anti-ship cruise missiles could potentially slip past the carrier strike group's defensive screen and get into a position to attack. The underwater domain remains one of the most challenging for naval forces, and the proliferation of quiet, capable submarines is a major concern for carrier commanders. Ballistic missiles, hypersonic weapons, stealthy submarines are all designed to exploit perceived vulnerabilities and neutralize America's most powerful naval asset. The U.S. Navy is not standing still in the face of these emerging threats. The defense of an aircraft carrier is not reliant on a single system but on a deep, layered defense known as defense in depth. This strategy creates multiple opportunities to defeat an attack before it can reach the carrier. The outermost layer is intelligence, satellites, reconnaissance aircraft, submarines, cyber assets. The Navy uses these to detect and track potential threats long before they are even launched. The next layer is the carrier's air wing and escort ships. E-2D Hawkeye aircraft patrol hundreds of miles from the strike group. Their powerful radars scan for incoming missiles or enemy aircraft. If a threat is detected, F/A-18 and F-35C fighters are vectored to intercept at long range. At the same time, Aegis-equipped cruisers and destroyers form a formidable shield. Spy-1 and Spy-6 radars track dozens of targets simultaneously. Those ships are armed with standard missiles. SM-3 intercept test launch, SM-6 intercepts cruise missile. As threats get closer, the layers tighten. Evolved Sea Sparrow missile, ESSM, and Rolling Airframe missile, RAM, handle medium to short-range defense. These systems are automated and react in seconds to engage multiple incoming threats. The final line is the Phalanx close-in weapon system, a radar-guided Gatling gun firing thousands of 20mm rounds per minute, a last-ditch wall of steel around the ship. Beyond kinetic defenses, the Navy invests in non-kinetic and next-gen tech. Growlers provide an electronic warfare screen. They jam missile guidance and confuse targeting sensors. Ships carry decoy launchers like the Nulka system. Nulka decoys lure missiles away from vessels. The Navy is developing directed energy weapons, high-powered lasers, microwave systems. Those could offer near-instantaneous, almost unlimited defense against drones and some missiles, promising to revolutionize shipboard defense in the coming years. The theoretical debates about carrier vulnerability often meet a different reality in day-to-day global operations. In just the last few years, U.S. aircraft carriers have been at the forefront of American foreign policy, demonstrating their continued relevance. A prime example was the deployment of the USS Gerald R Ford carrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean in late 2023, following the outbreak of conflict involving Israel. The carrier's presence served a dual purpose. It was a clear signal to regional actors like Iran and its proxies not to escalate the conflict, and it reassured allies of America's commitment to regional stability. This mission highlights the carrier's unique role as a tool of crisis response. It can arrive on station quickly and stay for an extended period, giving Washington options others can't. The strike group brought immense self-sustaining combat power without relying on vulnerable land bases. Its presence stabilized the situation, acting as a deterrent that shaped strategic calculations. It wasn't about firing weapons but using the credible threat to prevent a wider war. Carrier diplomacy. In the Indo-Pacific, carriers are a constant feature, conducting freedom of navigation in places like the South China Sea. Sailing through these waters challenges excessive maritime claims and reinforces that the seas are open to all. These operations directly counter China's attempts to control vital waterways. Regular carriers like the USS Ronald Reagan and the USS Carl Vinson operate there to provide tangible support to partners: Japan, South Korea, the Philippines. These missions carry risk and are carefully planned to manage escalation. They show the Navy can operate and defend carriers inside contested A2AD zones. By sailing these waters, the Navy practices skills, tests defenses, and sends a political message. It shows the world that despite new threats, the U.S. carrier remains the most capable and flexible naval instrument ready to be dispatched to any corner of the globe. As we assess the state of naval power in 2025, the verdict is clear. The U.S. aircraft carrier, while more challenged than ever, still reigns as the king of the seas. Its combination of mobility, endurance, firepower, and flexibility remains unmatched. No other weapon system can deliver such a concentration of combat power to almost any point on the globe, with the speed and self-sufficiency of a nuclear-powered carrier strike group. The ability to project an entire air force from international waters independent of foreign bases gives the United States a strategic advantage. The carrier is far from obsolete. It has proven its worth time and again in real-world crises. The threats, however, are real and cannot be dismissed. Anti-ship ballistic missiles, hypersonic weapons, increasingly quiet submarines, especially from nations like China. The days of operating with impunity close to an adversary's coast are over. This has forced the U.S. Navy to adapt, evolving its tactics and technologies to meet new challenges. Operating from greater distances, enhancing layered defenses, integrating unmanned systems, leveraging space-based assets for situational awareness. The carrier is no longer an invulnerable fortress but a highly defended, adaptable centerpiece of a networked naval force. The future of carrier dominance depends on the race between offense and defense. The U.S. is investing billions in next-generation platforms like the Ford-class, fielding new aircraft like the F-35C, developing long-range unmanned strike aircraft, allowing carriers to stand off at safer distances, investments in directed energy weapons, advanced electronic warfare, integrated air and missile defense systems. This innovation is key to its survival. In 2025, the aircraft carrier's era is evolving, not ending. A mobile, sovereign airfield remains strategically vital. As long as global commerce and distant crises exist, sea-based power projection will matter. The threats are formidable, but so are the countermeasures. When Washington needs to send a message, where are the carriers?